Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Scaling with SaaS. I'm your host, Johnny Shipman, CEO and founder of Invincible Media. And today, really lucky, really excited to have Ole Fjelberg, of co-founder and COO of Club and brand ambassador. So welcome, Ole, to the show, man. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Johnny. Great to be
Good
here.
stuff. Good stuff. Beautiful. All right. Well, look, Ollie, I've obviously, we've obviously done a little bit of background into both brands, but I think we're going to focus on the one brand today, which is the evolution, which is Club. All right.
That's
But
right.
could you just talk us through it first of all? Tell us about yourself, Ollie. Tell us about yourself, and then if we can then flow into brand ambassador and then eventually merge into Club.
Only born and raised in Norway. So it all kind of started back in 2010, where we, with three other buddies, created a brand called One Piece. You remember those, the One Piece onesies? Absolute craze back then. And what was cool was that it was back in when, before Instagram even, right? When Facebook pages was a thing. And we were quite young back then. I was 20, and partners were like 23, 4, 5. And for the first time ever with Facebook, right? Anyone and their grandmother could write a piece and publish it to all their friends with the click of a button.
Of course.
And we sort of saw this. We got like, change your profile picture to this One Piece picture and, join the contest. And we had like 30,000 people change their profile picture to wearing One Piece. That was pretty cool. It was back then. And we ended up having the largest Facebook group in Northern Europe by like a mile.
Wow.
Um, and then as Instagram came about, we were also very early on that ball, understanding sort of everything, and all the other clothing brands were sort of lagging behind.
Right.
And we found that when we're traveling around to festivals and to all these fairs and stuff, met a lot of cool people. And we realized we wanted to recruit these guys as ambassadors. We didn't have that much money. We had lots of products. We gave away these onesies to cool kids across the globe, celebrities, but also just cool kids that were big fans. And we realized that we wanted to collect them in one system. So we built a first version before Brandmaster. First version we launched actually in February 2011, built into the One Piece website. We called it the Peacekeepers, the One Piece Peacekeepers, where anyone, we had like 10,000 ambassadors at the time, can log in to the One Piece website. They can create a discount code. They can share with friends, earn commission in cash and get paid.
Right.
And then they can also do these missions that we put out. The mission could be anything like, oh, share this video on Facebook or whatever. When Instagram came, it was like, do an Instagram photo. Help us get stocked in Selfridges was a genius mission. Go to Selfridges, ask for One Piece, and give us a selfie. You're there, right? Get like $5 in a gift card. And we had like 400 kids running into Selfridges. So Selfridges ended up calling us, right? Hey guys, we need your onesies. Everyone's asking for them. And
Superb. Love it. Great tactic.
yeah, and then in 2015, 16 was when this sort of like, Instagram influencer hype
Yeah.
started happening. So many brands came to us. They were like, guys, how on earth are you doing all this social media marketing? Because we had, kids all over the globe posting about us. And we realized then like, oh, this is something every brand in the world needs, right? So then we split it out as a separate company, and we built a master purpose built then for brands to build a community
Yeah.
and leverage community marketing across all social platforms and also offline, right? Think about it as word of mouth on steroids.
Yeah.
And so then I launched Brandmaster in 2016, helped hundreds of brands in all sorts of sizes, very much like forward-leaning, cool social media first brands like Danny Wellington and Ideal Sweden, and has been great customers. Muller even have like 700 lingerie stores all over Europe,
Oh,
um, and been customers with us for like 7, 8 years.
oh, that's
Um,
great.
and then we came to a roadblock where we wanted
Crossroads. Yeah,
to
we
cross the
all
road.
do, sir. We all do.
Of course, we wanted to fill Brandmaster with all sorts of features, and we have great vision for the future of community marketing. I think no one else in the world can say they literally have 14 years of experience with doing this. So we have some fantastic ideas which couldn't be executed in the existing sort of brand ambassador platform. So what we did was we started building it from scratch. And as we were just speaking before this, Johnny, you were like brand ambassador, a brand ambassador. It's like sort of the name is not punching, right?
Got you. Yeah, I got you. I got you.
So we were sitting for probably a year brainstorming ideas like what should this new thing be called? And then my co-founder Thomas, he, after 500th name, he's suddenly like, and you have to check everything, right? It's like the handle's
Okay.
ready,
Yeah.
but you have to check the trademark. That's the most important part, right? You can't
Yeah.
start a company with
You,
a
you've
trademark.
even got to check how good it looks from a real quick glance, a really small little sort of profile icon. Can I read it? Can I understand it? Is it contrasting? Is it intriguing a bit? I totally get it, man. I do. Yeah, I do.
Store. And of course, it's always like blah 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 Lee or like I this or like this techie
Yeah.
stuff becomes a bit cheeky. And anyways, he says something like club. I'm like, dude, that's trademark. That's taken. Like, right? No, 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 no. It's free here. So we got to the lawyers. Yeah, can we trademark club? And they were like, no, that's taken. To check free in the register. So now
Unbelievable.
we were able to trademark the word club, which is freaking epic. So our new
No,
platform is called Club CLUB, and it's perfect. Every brand in the world
brilliant.
needs a club. And
Absolutely.
community
I can't believe you got away with that. I mean, that would be a given. Kudos, man. Kudos. Love it.
now we just launched a new version Club, which is absolutely also a platform of our dreams. We were able to build an extremely scalable platform that already has the full suite of features that we want, but we can also add all the features that the future will need. So it's going to be super duper cool and exciting. Yeah, so that was the long version. You asked for it.
That was amazing. I mean, look, I can see where the light bulb moment went off, right? And the power of community marketing is unbelievable. And all these brands, I mean, look, beautiful. Again, the name. But look, let's just talk about the product, right? So you said that you had some constraints. What are you able to do with Club that you couldn't do with Brandbuster? Why break away? Why start from scratch? It's a bold move, man. It's a bold move to just not quite burn it down, but just start from scratch. So talk to me about why change. What's the difference?
So there's a lot of obviously factors, but I think in any sort of software, especially in community marketing, right? Some of my other people and mates and stuff, they're like, oh, what if Google comes around and just create, copies you guys? I
Mm,
think that is possible because there is so much logic. If you want to really automate community marketing for brands for the future, there's so much logic and so many things that center you need to think about,
mm,
which can only be taught and actually implemented through trial and error and actual experience, like feeling the pains. So of course we've been, helping hundreds of brands building massive communities up to like 100,000, 150,000 ambassadors communities in Brand Ambassador. And through that, we've seen that, ooh, okay, the logic and flows that we thought were perfect back then, of course, has their ways of improvement, but it comes down to fundamental level, right? And then you suddenly need to go down and change the complete fundament of the code, or like
mm.
fundament of everything, and everything is attached. So we had the luxury then to be able to build it
Yeah.
completely new and change, use then choose certain database structures and certain things to build it on that we didn't know or didn't even exist, back in 2016 when we started building Mermaster.
But the tech has changed, but not the offer. No, the offer is still, the value proposition is still the same, but you've optimized and improved the platform.
Yeah, so the base value proposition is definitely the same. Like you're helping brands building communities, sort of as I mentioned, word of mouth on steroids, right? Like
Mm,
the name of the game is you want everyone who knows about your brand now and in the future should also recommend your brand to whoever they know, whoever is following them on social media, right? But the main difference is Brandmaster became, narrow. You can do these missions and discount codes and a few other features like generate sales. Whilst Club, we're building it as like a theme park of like in a super
yeah.
gamified, cool. I mean, it's going to be so much fun when we
It's good.
introduce new features, both for, the changing the way that users engage with their brands, users being not just the influencers, but like ambassadors, but also customers, right?
They hand over the cash. Why don't they get their own little sort of limelight? Yeah. And their own little
Exactly.
sort
What we found with our brands in Brandmaster and now in Club is that you'll find so many golden nuggets within your customers that you didn't know about, right? So many cool, like not even, doesn't have to have thousands of, tens of thousands of followers. They'll be just like these really cool kids who are super fan of your brand and they will go through hell and beyond to engage and help your brand. And they might have very, very strong social clout within their
of.
local community, right? In their school or in the university. So we actually we experienced that several times. You know, remember we had Gigi Hadid signing up as an ambassador for One Piece, and we were like, woohoo, this is gonna be awesome. She did sell,
Yeah.
but the guy that sold, many, many
Right.
times to her, that was this guy in Salt Lake City. He was running around his university, writing his discount code all the blackboards and all the classrooms and running around with his One Piece 24/7, just repping.
What
So
an advocate. Damn.
it's about having, both those types in the same room.
Oh God, right. Okay. Well, look, I mean, for anybody that's watching this now who's not too au fait with the community marketing as concept, right? Just give it to us in layman terms on, maybe give us the flow, right? So we a rough idea what the concept is. So you've got, sign up, promotion, affiliate link gets generated, and then sale, commission backtracked. Just talk us through a real basic flow of how this works.
Yeah, so any brand that gets started on Club, it's super simple. 30 seconds, boom, you have your brand page on Club basically. And the name of the game then is to just get anyone that you knows about your brand into Club. So what the brands do is to typically, do a newsletter to your customers because they will definitely need to know it first. And we have named Club. What is cool with Club is that we funnel people to the right club where we have the
Nice.
customer club, the ambassador club, and the creator club. And you can treat these clubs individually, right? You can give special perks to your creators and of course special missions you want for them with other rewards. And then once people start funneling in, you might have set up filters to be like, okay, if you have over X followers, whatever, your creator, or like complete this little application thing, and we'll put you in that right club. But yeah, the first name of the game is just there's no reason to not have anyone that already knows about your brand in Club. And of course, in Club as well, we have lots of other users. The Club is recently launched, so but in Brand Master we have like 2 million members. So you also get a lot of action from other people that are just
Yeah.
exploring, finding your brand for the first time. And in Club will hopefully have by the time this goes on the air, have tens of millions of.
That's the point. I mean, really cool concept, man. Because where does the money come from, right? So you're obviously reaching out to brands, you're getting them signed up to the platform, right? And then you're helping them to sort of get their brand out there to, all sorts of bases and using all sorts of insights and sort of, retargeting maybe to get them new followers, to get them new advocates, to get them new ambassadors, right? But how how did you validate your ICP, right? So are you quite retail driven, or is it more in the cosmetics line, or is it so general that you would pretty much work with anyone? I mean, what's your sweet spot? How did you validate that?
Of course, yeah, you want it to work for everyone. Our vision is that every brand
Yeah.
will need a club, right? And it doesn't matter if you sell goods online or goods physically in stores, or if you do, ships. Everyone has consumers, and anything that can be shared and experienced to like-minded consumers to get them to purchase will definitely be within the wider ICP. Those that we see work the best is what I would like e-com first
Yeah.
brands, those who are social media first, those who really understand this. So many brands out there today are seeing that the future is in community marketing. Like the brand of tomorrow will be a community-led brand that you didn't have like Gymshark. The next Gymshark will be even more community-led
Mm.
than Gymshark. And I think we'll see that more and more happening, that these brands are don't even maybe the biggest brand in 5 years we haven't even heard of or doesn't even exist yet.
That's right, man. I was going to say, I mean, we're talking about the ICP, right? I mean, there's
Yeah,
there's
SDP.
obvious go-to e-commerce physical products that this would work well with, right?
Yeah, ICP. So
Mm.
anything that is visually appealing, and also think about the actual ambassador or the user, customer, or creator, what they would want to share. So one simple example is a like pet brands typically do well because everyone wants to share.
People love their pets. It's huge.
And getting people to share their pets is a very easy thing to do. Workout brands, again, very normal and easy and socially acceptable to share your workout or gear that you're using. But also anything that you're probably familiar with that using brands or products where you're like, oh, I want my friends to know about this, right? It's not like necessarily I share it because I earn commission or whatever, but like I genuinely actually want my friends to know about this brand, I'll share it. If it's on Instagram or if it's in my WhatsApp group with mates, right? Or if it's just on the dinner table, hey guys, by the way, this is awesome. And I happen to be an ambassador and I can give you like a 20% discount. Go for more of that sort of genuine, like a real community vibe, right? And it's more about just, of course, in the end for brands, it's all about revenue, right? In the end game. And that's why we see these sort of social media for like in e-com brands that have a good, I say like under $200 average basket where you can get that sort of impulse sale on line that does the best because we track all the revenue through Club, right? So you can see in your dashboard, you can see all the revenue and the ROI and all that stuff. And of course, when brands see that lots of generated revenue is directly generated, they are more likely to put more into it. But you have all the other value in that you can see in Club as well. All the UGC created, you can get feedback from customers. You see them engaging with each other. We got the sort of a Discord style wall thing where you can engage and chat with them. It's all about building a community, engaging people around your brand. And those brands that maybe have even more success, those are the ones who see the value, not just in the direct sale dollar, but understanding that the value of all of this content being shared is indirectly going to give a lot of brand value
The
and
great
sales.
news is not costing them too much as well because it's all organically created by super fans, you know? Can you just talk me through some key wins, maybe milestones within the business? So maybe it was grabbing a certain influencer or working with a certain brand or tipping over a certain sort of, ARR. I mean, share some successes, man, or some big milestones. Talk to us.
Yeah, no, we, of course, getting big, good brands in is always a good win.
Did name drop any, Ollie, by any
Yeah,
chance?
no,
Or
so of course in brand ambassador we've had all these big brands I already mentioned, Danny Wellington and Ideal, the Sigwall, Fabletics,
big
Huel,
role?
yeah, many big brands. But in club now, yeah, we launched Snag. I know you're in the US, but I'm very big in the UK at least. Snag is tights for girls. I think it was a pretty good, cool for us. Optimum Nutrition is a very cool
Yeah.
brand. I just reached a big milestone and generated a little bit of
That
platform.
that says more than any figure, mate. That's good.
So they are very happy with that. We also are just launching Naked, big brand. It's always been a great brand where they are very strong community marketing. They're like any 20-something girl in Europe would die to work for them. So that's really cool. We also just closed like Misguided and stuff coming to club very soon. Tomorrow, I think they're launching on clubs. That's going to be super exciting. So of course, like there's so many brands, big and small. One thing is getting one of those big brands on. But whatever size of the brand, I personally really love when a brand starts using the platform in the creative way. So we have a
Nice.
lot like the engine in Club is the mission maker, right? You can create any mission that you want. Mission being what you want your ambassadors to do. And you can add on like a set of actions, blocks, and you can reward your ambassadors in like either cash or gift card and based on some metric, right? You can say like, oh, you get $2 per 100 views you get in your IG story, or like 50 cents per like that you get on your Instagram post or TikTok or whatnot. And then you can really get creative, right? Because you can put a mix of all sorts of actions and blocks, as we call it in sequence reaction, and change the name of that.
Sounds good, man. You can get really creative, can't you? And
Yeah,
the good thing is you were sat there absorbing, you get a full bird's eye view of what is working, what's not. And, you can create proper marketing packs, can't you? And launch pads or, I don't know, but you've got access to all the data. Maybe you can monetize that or shape that or improve the journey or the onboarding as such. So cool,
yeah.
man.
As I want to give one shout out, we just had one first. I'm from Norway, and one of our first Norwegian brands called Rugne, which is one of the key players there, is the biggest climbing influencer in the world called, I don't know, are you into climbing? Right. A really cool climbing brand, Rugne. They have Jordan, their community manager, absolute legend. He's like this parkour dude. I met them last week, and he just gets it, right? So he really digs in, builds his mission, have new ways and ideas to utilize the really powerful platform that we built. And so those things are for me a really good, cool win to
Mate,
see
it's
these
nice.
people.
This is your baby. You guys have created this baby, and it's being, elevated in so many different ways. It's nice to see, man. It's growing, and great. Well, look, listen, really nice journey so far. Love it all. But look, it's never sunshine and rainbows, okay? What about biggest lessons learned so far?
Oh, biggest lessons learned, and that's as many where to start. No, well, I think the biggest lesson I learned is to like just do it and like go step by step. Because if we would have really understood the undertaking this was to build a platform and try to succeed in that. If we knew everything we knew now, we would probably never have done it in the first place. Head in straight into it, but then just dive into it and get started. If you think you have a brilliant idea and you have an edge on any competitor out there, if you have something to offer to the world, go get it. Especially now in the age of AI, I feel like anyone can build whatever they want, which is a whole scary topic.
Oh God, there's all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff being built from bedrooms, laptops, coffee shops, and it's impressive stuff. We've had some really cool guests on, and there's some crazy stuff going on. But you've got to take action. You could have the best line of code in the world. It's always around the customer. It's always around the journey. If you've got product market fit, how do you get the eyeballs on it? What's the saying that we say? The best found beats the best. So you've got to take action. You've got to get your product and your brand out there.
Another
Pain.
there's one more learning is to also like have fun. If you don't have fun along the way, it's like,
Try
well,
to, yeah, yeah.
we thought it was going to be like 2 years, 8 years, and still going, probably going to be 10, 15. And if you don't have fun along the way, then that's your life just down the drain. Like, have an awesome time, learn loads, and yeah, take it as challenges.
Got to stop and take check sometimes and say, why did I do this? And am I enjoying myself? Am I giving value? You've got to try and keep it fun as much as you can. I mean, even with the people you work with, it could be the most boring product and build ever, but it could all be about the team, all be about the customer, and the end product for them. So look, we touched upon competition there, right? I certainly haven't done a deep dive into this market yet, but I certainly will. Fascinating subject, really cool. But how do you stand out in the marketplace, right? You know what I mean? But how is Club standing out or going to stand out in the marketplace? What makes you different?
That is a great question. So we have just back to that like 20, when we launched Club 16, 17, 18, this whole like this influencer wave came, right? And you have all these old brands were like, oh my God, are you doing influencer marketing? And we're trying to sell in community marketing field, right? Influencer marketing is very transactional. It's like, okay, hey, you want to post? Yeah, that's like $1,000. Here's $1,000, and they do the post. But our vision has always been to build a strong community around your brand. And if the people just care about the money and not your brand, then they can, and
It's way it
and
works. I think when you stop chasing the money, it just works out. If you just stick with fixing the problem and delivering value, the money comes, man. It's a byproduct. Get
exactly.
it?
And what I'm really glad of, like it was tough to then not give in and be like, yeah, sure, we'll build this like influencer management. And then we saw competitors jump, going right, left, and center, jumping on this like influencer wave. And there was some capital raises in that. And that was like eyes on ball, even like big investors and VCs and stuff were all about this influencer stuff. We were like, no, 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 this is going to pass. We already see the end of the wave. So we sort of lie in front of everyone else, I think, because they're so deep in that. Because now everyone is about community marketing. It's so definitely the next wave coming. And all these so-called competitors are now suddenly changing their wording on their websites and their offering and everything and directly copying stuff from us. And we're like, well, this is actually super cool. And we do see stronger competition now, which we also see as a proof that we were right. And instead of us having to educate brands so much about you should have this instead, they're coming to us because we're now sort of the industry leaders and the people with the most know-how in the space. So I think that is our edge is obviously that we've been longest in the game. But in
Mm.
addition, we're not the guy, like it's not always good to be the longest and have that old platform you wished you renewed. But we
Yeah.
have both. We're the guys with the most knowledge that has the newest, freshest platform. And I'll actually circle back to your last question with like a tip to people. Hire awesome people to your team. And we are super duper happy and feel very privileged to have an ace awesome team that now has people who work there now for 7, 8 years, and they have so much knowledge. And we are a very strong customer success organization where we pride ourselves on helping brands along on their journey to get into this community marketing thing. So even though, of course, I wish that we had a complete tech touch platform where just you can get 1,000 brand signups per day. As of right now, we still like to help and onboard each customer. Definitely a
Because
personal
we
touch.
got to try and remember to keep our shit human. You know what I mean? It's nice to get that personal touch. AI, yes, it's there, it's got its place, but it's got to be used correctly. But
Mm.
that human touch is always key, man. Right. So look, you mentioned you want to drive 1,000 brands per day, right? You've started a brand new journey now with Club. Okay. Brand new brand, legacy business behind you. You've got all the knowledge, you've got the experience, you've got brands coming to you, right? But look, you know, shit like that is not scalable, it's not predictable, right? Talk to me about your own growth and acquisition. You know, what is working well for you right now? Are you adopting certain techniques, or are you lucky that stuff is just coming to you and you're happy with it? You know, this is scaling with SaaS, right? Scaling with SaaS, we want to know about how to grow. What are you doing to grow? Give us give us what's going on. What's the good stuff? What's working well for you guys now?
A good question.
Channels, techniques, mate. Just spill it all out,
We do have a great sales organization as well, and we have tried to go the whole tech touch. What's the term that everyone is using these days?
Touch points.
No, like
Well,
customer led or not sales led.
just value led.
Yeah, no, but there's a whole thing about it.
Too many buzzwords in our industries.
To be sort of like the customer led, right? Like all these
Okay.
self-serve platforms where you sign up, you can get everything and start doing it yourself. Like basically, you can do that with Club now, but it still requires a little bit of human touch. Also, we are in a position now where we have like the future parity with Brand Ambassador is now the same. So we're now moving customers over from Brand Ambassador to Club. We're signing lots of great brands on Club, but we do have a few really, really awesome features in the pipeline coming now. We're talking just the next couple of months. We're finalizing sort of design and starting development of a really cool way to make advanced community marketing accessible to any brand. So we're almost holding a little bit back on sort of
Okay.
the volume of acquisition of customers right now. We do have a pretty healthy cash flow. We have great customers who are generating a lot of revenue. So as of right now, we're sort of focusing more. We have a sales or outbound sales organization who's focusing extremely targeted towards very strong ICP clients. So we're
Okay.
trying a short list of clients that we can literally go to and say, we know that we can help you. There's no bullshit. There's no like mass sales and SDR stuff. It's like
No.
it's like my CRO Matt. He says like it's like I have this the guy's his back is hurting and I have this pill. I
That's the
know
cue. There's the pill.
no,
Yeah.
it will cure his pain. It's just about convincing. And then we
So
have
you know the pain points. You know you've got the resolution, the solution for it. You've got a targeted list, right? And you've got a plan on how to execute that outreach for those. The historic book that's coming over, and then any natural organic stuff that just drops in. Yep.
and then we found like because with such few big clients, we will really, really want to go after. We want to show them for real that we mean this. And that's where it's actually really fun to be creative. Like we've been, sending them proper stuff. Like this is almost like industry secret I shouldn't give away, but I can say that
So
one. We sent this one guy the pinata with lots of candy in it and stuff. He hadn't answered any of our calls, any of our emails. We're like, we'll send him a pinata with candy. And of course, like pictures of us and like handwritten letters and like whatever he could see, like we care so much.
that's
Going
good
through
stuff.
all this shit just to get your attention. And then he's like, okay, guys, come up for a meeting. Let's
Yeah.
talk. You're pretty serious here. So
Nice.
I think that is definitely an effort that we've seen give fruition so much. We can send 10,000 cold emails, not get an answer, right? But if you really have a customer that you really know that you can help, it becomes genuine and then put all your energy in there.
And I think if it's coming across in your messaging, and of course, if you're persistent, definitely, I'm sure they'll cave in at some point. So, new brand, new year, 2025. At the time of recording this, what's the goal for 2025 or goals? If we were to do a recap on this, 31st of December, me and you jumping on just before New Year's Day, what can we say that you've done? What are the goals?
They're big. We've had, of course, world domination in the plan for a long time, but I think now we are really, really close. I'm super duper excited to launch the new, what we call levels. Like I wish I can show you how that will look, but you'll definitely see. But how you can really automate and scale a community marketing and make that accessible for any brand, even like the one-man shop brands that, like small brands that do well, that don't have time to manage thousands of people, they will be able to.
Maybe just not the budget for ads.
That's what many of our customers say, right? Like, oh my God, I'm so tired of overpaying for these shitty ads that everyone else, like you end up in a pool with everything else. Like and that's back to my first story, right? When we ran around and the world really and tried to be creative, we're happening with 2011 flash mobs and that stuff, right? Like marketing almost became a little bit boring with this all add online stuff sitting in front of a computer. Like we didn't do that with One Piece the first 5, 6 years at all. This community marketing brings the creative juices into it again. As I mentioned with the brands that were really creative, they are breaking through and their cost goes extremely low because they're building a strong community that will talk about them for almost nothing.
What's the CAC? The CAC is low. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. No, so the goal for 2025, well, it's getting those features out to the world, seeing some of the biggest brands that are not in the world, but one of our biggest ICP brands jump on it, do some really cool stuff, and that will bring with it lots of other brands because they are looking up to these brands that we're taking in now.
I was gonna ask about a number actually. 'Cause I mean, if there's a number, even if it's monetary or if it's like, no, can't tell you the monetary, but what I can tell you is the amount of users by the end of the year, or with the number of, subscriptions. I'm not too sure about the pricing and how that works. Can you give us a number at least?
Yeah, well, we have 2 million registered users on Brand Ambassador. So to supersede that on Club by 2025 should be a realistic undertaking. And with that, the number I can't get out of my head is to have 1,000 brands by 2025. I think that should be pretty feasible as well. And
Where,
then,
where are you at now? Did you say how many brands you had now? I can't remember.
yeah,
Where
we
are you
have
at?
250 brands.
So look, let's just say I give you a magic wand, right? What would you wave? What would you fix right now to get you there quicker? You've got a shortfall of 750. There's the magic wand, passing it through the screen to you. What would you fix to get you there quicker?
It would be something on the tech side, right? Because the development of things is like we have the idea, we have the pain, we have the problem, and it's just even though we have an awesome tech team like designers, developers, QA on that, and the product team that is working around the clock, but still it just takes ages, right? It's like you draw something up and then you have to reiterate, and then you develop, and there's some bugs, and you have to test and go back and forth,
Oh,
and it just takes ages. So I have a magic wand, I will point it at the whole Jira backlog and just like fix this
yes.
whole.
What are you doing about that challenge? Are you just adding more devs or are you trying to break it down into phases? Just for anybody that's listening to this, right? Because someone could listen and say, do you know what? That's the same issue I've got. From concept to prototype just takes forever. But, break it down as such. How are you overcoming or how are you working towards getting that next release out or that next phase of development?
Well, it is tough, right? Because there's lots of dependencies, right? In order to get the analytics module in place, we need to first finish building the mission structure or whatever that will align with the analytics module. So it has to go in a certain
Yeah, a certain
order. I think over time, I just realized it takes time. Like it will not help putting more developers on it. It could go the other way, if anything. So I think we're again lucky to have now a very strong team. All of them are super into it and effective. We have a fantastic designer, or two fantastic designers.
Listen, just real quick, the website, I mean, we'll be putting the website in the description, right? The UI and UX on that is superb. It's really nice. Love that.
Thank you. A tip designer, we had something like 4 or 5 on the designer team, and then we got this guy Jürgen who's made this website and everything else, and then he does double what the 5 did.
They
It
love.
doesn't always help to throw more people on the problem, right? So maybe even the other way is the solution, like reduce number of people and focus the effort. And the tech part probably could always be done quicker, of course. That's what we tell tech team and tech lead and stuff. But once he walks us through it, we do understand that it is a process. You will want to test it, especially when there are several devs doing several versions and all that stuff. This needs to be put together. It's annoyingly complex, but of course, in the age of AI now, we're adapting that, and that's more so increasing the speed of development than putting more people on the problem.
Yeah, it's using it where it's best used, isn't it?
Mm.
Workflows, all the sort of monotonous sort of laborious stuff. Right, look, talk to me about opportunities, right? So let's just take a quick look to the future. Right? Talk to me about what are the biggest opportunities that you see in this industry right now?
Oh, the biggest opportunities I see in this industry.
Been excited a few times. You've got quite excited about a few things already, right? So look, let's just circle back to that, right? Now, it could be just, in the general SaaS space, it could be even just working with AI, it could be a new hire to the team. Naturally, it's the new brand, which is obviously, really, really exciting. But you mentioned you've got a couple of drops, a couple of releases, biggest opportunities, what we see. And it could even just be a general market shift, with the consumers taking more of a lead.
Yeah, and also we have the product that we're releasing is called Levels. So we
Level.
have Yeah, we've
Yeah.
been working on that for a year, basically, like more than that. We had that as an ultimate dream, where the pain of the brands that are really scaling in community marketing is that they like to, like to segment your ambassadors. You have your customers, you have your creators, you have your VIPs and whatnot. But having levels beyond that sort of automate, like, and really identify who really does the valuable things for you, and basing them to on their side really gamify the approach through like this leveling system, right? You want to become a level 4 creator, and if you're level 4 creator, you're obviously up on a pedestal with the biggest VIP, and the brand will always go to them
Unlock. Love it. Yeah.
treat them with silk gloves, right? And then it's about gamifying the journey for anyone through that. Also, on the customer side, as you see with loyalty programs, you want to give real good love to the customers that are repeating purchases and coming back often. Make that journey for the customer or the creator or the ambassador fun and gamified in the community vibe, not like the transactional vibe that maybe the traditional sort of loyalty programs do. So I think that is like for any brand out there, I might be biased, but I genuinely believe that community marketing is by far the biggest opportunity out there. I think way too many, so many brands popping up these days, and many are in the forefront on community marketing, are thinking community first and understanding the value of their customers and how they can potentially help driving awareness for the brand going forward. But so many brands are also forgetting it because they're looking at all sorts of other places to do business, being logistics or too much focus on the ads and the meta stuff. Biggest opportunity for them is to look away on that, get the logistics out of the way, give that to someone else. The meta stuff is always pay some dude to do that, like probably
Yeah.
better than what you do today, and give all your love to the people that know and care about your brand.
That have already bought your product and experiencing it. Yeah. Love that, mate.
Exactly.
It actually makes an
Having,
awful lot of sense when you say it like that. It's like, yeah, duh. Route one marketing, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, look, if you were to start all over, would you do anything different? Or has it all been just real plain sailing? I mean, have you gone through any funding at all? Was that a bit of a headache? Or was it just a wrong hire? Or was it, spending too much time on the product, not enough on sales, or too much time on sales, or not on the product? What would you do if you had to start again?
Yeah, I think what we do if we start again, we did, of course, everyone's done wrong hires. We hired hundreds of people along the way. We're like 50 people now. We were up to 90 actually. And of course, there's some wrong hires and people go in the wrong ways every now and then. If I were to do it all again, if we could take back time to when we started building Club, I think we did very wrong in giving away the product development. And we went off and focused because we had two platforms at the time then, right? We had Brandmaster, which sort of all the business were, and then we were building this new thing. And we gave that to someone that was much better than us in UI and UX and the technicalities. I think that set us back like a year. We should have been completely into every single aspect of designing and developing the new platform. That's what we ended up having to do a year or two after, and then have been the last 18 months been like deep, deep, deep into every single corner and aspect. Now it's obvious, but back then, God knows why we did what we did.
We
And
always think we're doing the right thing at the time, and hindsight and stuff. But look, this is the journey. This is what we signed up for as entrepreneurs and founders. It's the way it goes. It really
yeah,
is.
so even if you're founder, we were up to 10 million ARR, and maybe we thought it was time that someone better than us could take the software. But I think as a founder, that's not the spot. I don't know where that spot happens if it's 20, 30, 40, 50 ARR. I don't think to ever release yourself for the product. And I think you need to be way, way deeper into the product than you realize.
Great advice. Great advice. What advice would you give to other founders? It could just be a general piece of advice for someone that's just within B2B SaaS. It could even be an influencer that's watching this. What advice would you give to primarily leaders within the space? And then maybe there's another takeaway for another segment, another demographic, but what's your big golden nugget, man, or golden nuggets?
Competitors are listening because we beat them all on good customer service. Shout out to VP of Customer Success, Emer, and her team that are delivering absolute superior customer service. And I've also been brought up in my family, a delicatessen shop back then. It's like customer always first. Customer
Yes.
is not always right in SaaS.
No.
That is
Mm.
something I learned. Don't always listen to your customers. Don't give them everything they need because that's not good. That's a separate long story. But advice: listen to your customers. Don't give them what they say they need. Give them what
Yes.
they need, and give them epic customer service. I think that's super appreciated and also available today with this AI stuff. Of course, you can give them a chatbot and stuff, but give them that a little bit of a human touch and some face-to-face that is going to solve all the problems in the world. And I think, of course, we will go into this like whole tech touch thing, but we will still strive to give face-to-face time to every single customer that comes through and know that knowing the people behind, also seeing their reaction firsthand. We've been speaking to every single customer, getting feedback on our software. When we're moving people over from our master now, we're doing that one-to-one with every single customer to ensure that their experience is as good as it can be.
In the most from the platform. I think it's very important, it's very common within SaaS that we all sign up to this tech, right? It could be data scraping, it could be cold email, it could be a community platform, couldn't it? It's about making sure and keeping, always touching base to say, hey, are you using this? Are you using that? Talk to me how you're using the platform. Yeah, I can't remember what the stat was, but it was something alarming. Like most users are only really getting about 20% use of an entire platform. There's all this feature
Mm,
stack. And it's like, they're only using like a quarter of it. It's
mm,
nuts. It's like, well, if they're not using all of it, what does your retention and your churn look like? Do you know what I mean? So it's about keeping in touch with them and saying, hey, what are you using it for? Can we give you some assistance on how best to approach it? Or do you know about this? Do you know about that? And then just to sort of solidify and maximize their experience and then keep them stickier, keep them there for longer. So, because, churn, retention, it's a thing with SaaS. It always is. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
mm.
But yeah, man, good. Well, look, you've already, I mean, we'll be wrapping up now shortly, but you've already mentioned some really cool drops and some updates and stuff, obviously, levels, etc., throughout the call. But look, just to make it really obvious, is there any upcoming events or releases or updates other than levels that we should all look forward to? Or nope, watch out for levels. That's the first.
Well, levels is the first and foremost. That's what we put all our energy into, and so I was on to a little bit now. We have already launched a lot of super cool features, and of course we have many in the pipeline. But after launch of levels, we have sort of a little bit of a line in the sand, and that's when we're going to sort of put our foot a little bit on the gas and make sure that we acquire as many brands, but also people like being customers, ambassadors, influencers.
That's
It's absolutely possible because they all come hand in hand, right? Without the users on the platform, their brands get no value, and without the brands, the users get no value. So a happy marriage between the two, and hopefully then also acquire so many cool and great users. That's all the influencers and possible ambassadors potentially watching. Download the club now because we already have like 100 plus brands. You can go and get great stuff and rewards and earn commission on sales.
Yeah, that's cool. Club is live, it's there, it's in the public domain. So that's obviously the first very important launch, right? When is Levels live? Or is it live already?
No, again, with tech development, it's impossible to say. We have an internal goal to have it out by Q1, but a realistic guess, early May, April.
We'll
Like
hope.
there's no point like waiting for levels, right? Because levels only make sense once you have maybe 1,000 or a couple of thousand ambassadors and you really get the pain of like, oh, I wish these guys were sort of leveling up. So if you start today on Club, you build up a ambassador base of if you're 1,000 or 10,000, 100,000, doesn't matter. Then before you reach that pain, levels will be live.
Got you. So just get into the platform, whatever state that you're in right now. Cool. Love it.
Exactly.
Right. So look, Ollie, amazing, man. This has been such a really cool call, right? Really insightful. I mean, I'm going to try and explore this for Invincible Media for our own brand,
Yeah.
and how it's going to work with LinkedIn, maybe. So look, just a quick fire round, right? What's your best marketing channel right now?
Well, marketing channel for like acquiring brands now. We're still using the outbound, very man-to-man or woman-to-woman in this age, 2025. Face-to-face or trying to get attention. So it's very manual outbound strategy. That is the only channel that we're currently using. So I'm unfortunately not the right man. Ask me in 6 months and
You
try
bet.
all the different channels. But I
All right.
promise that we will at least strive to try to be more creative and then turn on Google and Meta ads sort of thing. It's marketing platforms, so probably just utilize it.
Great. Well, look, what is one tool apart from Club, right? What is one tool you couldn't live without? In the life of a CEO, co-founder, what is the one tool you couldn't live without?
Just have a
Apart from
big
Zoom, obviously, and Facebook.
now going with all these tools we have. But of course, the guys at Slack have done a fantastic job and
Yeah.
to do daily work in any place without Slack. I don't see how anyone can do it. And they must get a big shout out. And I see how they're pumping out new features. And if you really look into Slack and you can do collab things and project things and
Oh, goes back to
we
my point. You need to pull away all the layers. It can do so much more than just
so much
chat.
more. And if you're in tech development, you try to envision how hard it is for these guys to do what they do is insane. And of course, we're using the sales guys using HubSpot. I don't sit in that too much, but I think they've done pretty well as well. And we look up to some of the sort of marketing and things that they've done. Intercom as well. They've done extremely well, helped us with the chat. We're now integrating that more and more because it helps us really market out and communicate to our customers and our users in a seamless way.
All right, well, look, we've got two wrap-ups for you, right? Biggest mistake you've learned from and the best piece of advice you've ever received. Biggest mistake, learned from, best piece of advice. Could even be from a parent, you never know.
A best piece of advice, yeah. We're talking about the parent. I remember I was only 10 years old, right, when we started One Piece, and then I was about to hire my first person, and so I was interviewing. Then I called my dad right before. I'm like, I'm doing my first interview, right? I was in uni.
I say,
What should I do? And he's like, what do you do? You put your chair as far away from the door as possible, and then you look at their feet. Are they on their toes? Take them. Are they sobbing? Are they on their heels? And it's just like that. What he's trying to say, right, is like look through the resume or whatever. Look for the sort of the diamond in the rough. That is there someone that's like has passion, is on,
yeah.
and that's sort of that I've taken with me. And some of the best people I've hired has been straight out of uni, been with us now for 7, 8 years. They had no resume to go to. All we went for was that sort of, are they on their tip of toes?
Are they passionate? Are they feeling it? They bought in.
Bought in, and do they have sort of the fire?
Can we quite find it difficult with devs sometimes because, quite quiet, calculated, introverted people. The most animated people could be full of shit. You never know.
Devs are tough. If you find any of those people, then hold on to them for all it's worth.
Lovely. Right. Okay. Well, look, let's just wrap this up. This has been a wonderful interview. Let's wrap it up. Right. So, look, where can people find out more about Club? And you in particular, maybe, Ollie? You know what I mean? You're a fascinating guy, great story. Give us a little plug, my man.
Well, thank you. Well, go to club.co. As I said, beautiful website, just launched. Yeah, everything is there. And then if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. For me, my Instagram at OleFJ. Follow me. I'm not that exciting. Should be more exciting on socials, so we'll work on that. But give me a follow, and maybe I'll start sharing stuff.
Cool. And I think what we'll do as well, we'll put some links in the description, naturally for the website. So cool.
Let's reach out to me on LinkedIn, also at OleFJ and all these social things. But yeah, reach out to me on LinkedIn. Send me a message. I actually do have some in the sales team also reading my messages, so you are guaranteed a swift response.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Speed to lead.
Yeah.
Speed to lead. I love it. Right. Okay, Ollie, listen, thank you very much for your time, mate. That's a wrap. What a fantastic episode. And look, you know where to find him and you know where to find Club. All right. So if you're an influencer, if you're a brand, even if you're a consumer and you're watching this, go check it out. It is the absolute future. I'm sure of it. So cool. Thank you, Ollie. You take care, my man. And I'll speak to you again.
Thank you, Johnny. It's been a pleasure.
All right, buddy. Take care.